two things have emerged today. Conservative Aboriginal leaders and Greens have reportedly held talks over their common opposition to this referendum on an Indigenous voice to the Parliament. Now, I know those meetings have occurred. Sensing failure, the Prime Minister now is apparently considering denying the presentation to the electorate of the details of the yes and no campaigns fundamental to any referendum. The Australian government must think that this will assist the yes vote? Hardly. One of the reasons, though, some of these so-called Indigenous leaders are opposing this referendum is that they want a treaty, ostensibly between First Nations people and the federal government. Now, hang on a minute. This is a very loose use of the language, First Nations people. A nation is a territory where all the people are led by the same government. Australia is a nation. The four characteristics of a nation state are sovereignty, land, population and government. The First Nations people, who were here when we were colonised, had no government and no semblance of government. It's argued that we were colonised, as if that's something we have to apologise for. In the history of the world, many nations have changed hands and been colonised. And if a nation, above all else, must be a group of people who share a common language, there is no one language which unites Aboriginal people, and they have no government. They are not a nation. So forget the talk about treaties. How you formulate a treaty between a sovereign state like Australia and an outfit which is not a nation is beyond the realm of common sense. But on the same day that this is being argued, no referendum until we get a treaty, we learn of appalling results amongst Aboriginal students. In WA, only 42% of Indigenous students in the final year of high school met the requirements to graduate with a WA Certificate of Education in 2021. In New South Wales, the proportion of Indigenous final year high school students attaining their HSC has gone backwards. In the Northern Territory, the number of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students who completed a Year 12 Certificate of Education and Training fell to 217, a decrease of 60 from the previous year. This is the point that Jacinta Price and other true leaders are making, that a so-called voice and a treaty go nowhere near addressing the kind of problems that many Indigenous Australians face and which are never addressed by the ideological zealots. Even if you supported a voice without doing any homework, you should surely understand that no single voice adequately represents the diverse and disparate communities within Aboriginal Australia. The most disturbing feature of all this is, of course, the absence of real leadership. Big corporates in the media, sporting codes, civic organisations, universities and celebrities don't even want to debate the issue that inserting an Indigenous voice into the Constitution would provide separate and legal rights to one group of Australians based on their race. This was once called apartheid.